On this episode, I have a visit with a Ragin Cajun living the suburban mom lifestyle. Her name is Kyla, and she builds one hell of a fairy garden. Growing up in Lafayette, Louisiana, she'd go to an all-Catholic girls' school. Her grandmother would cut her hair while she was sleeping to protect her from the 3 days of darkness. And she'd become a real-life version of Michelle Pfeiffer in Gangsters Paradise. And that's exactly who she wants to be. An educated, strong woman who values family and wants to help others. We also talk about that if you give your kiddo an allowance, he needs to pay for his own fast food. Let's jump in. Hey everybody, welcome to a moderately good podcast. Again, you're here again. And as always, before I get started, doing my quick shout outs. The first shout out is to my guy, Above Average Joe. That's where you can find him on Instagram. He does all my cool media stuff. He helps put this whole thing together. He can shoot anything, not like shoot it, but like with photography, shoot it. Come on, guys. Anyways, but he's great. Above Average Joe, you can find him on there. My guy Jaron, he runs on Instagram No Names Originals, and he does custom paintings and clothing and stuff like that. He bleaches a lot of clothes. I wear some of the stuff on the podcast. My guy Mo, that has the Go Bubble app, and that is GoBubble_app. It's a detailing service to you. So just like Uber and all the other stuff you get delivered to your house, booze, you can deliver a car wash. You don't even have to go anywhere and wash your car anymore. I mean, it's great. One of my newest sponsors, The Body Rebuilder, I always mess that up. They're up in Georgetown, and they're working on everybody from just regular average folks like us to bodybuilders, trying to get you more mobility, trying to make you feel better, trying to make your body move better. Everybody likes lifting weights, but if your stuff is messed up, it's going to make it worse. So let these guys come out and tune up your car, we'll say, right? So, and then, I had to mention before we got out of here, Whiskey Vibes Only, which is, Whiskey Vibes. My guy Joe runs Whiskey Vibes. It is bourbon beverages that guys like me don't know anything about, and we want to know more about it, and Joe makes it easy, and that's what I like about it. This lady that I'm bringing on the podcast, we pretty much ran around all in college, even though she thinks I don't remember anything we did in college and what we were doing. So, that's interesting. But everybody, say hi to Kyla. Kyla, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah.
Can you bring your mic just a little bit closer in? Sorry.
How's that?
I just know how far you're going to sit back.
Oh, okay.
All right. So before we got started, we had kind of talked a little bit about giving your son an allowance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that, so you're going to send him, so wait. Let's just back up real quick and we'll jump back into this. Okay, Kyla. So tell everybody kind of what you do and just like quick bio about you real quick.
I am a high school teacher, first and foremost. I'm a mom to a 7-year-old crazy person. I am a suburban mom. I do all the suburban mom things.
Do you like being a suburban mom?
It's kind of like my new thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like
The other thing got old.
Yeah.
What we were doing when we all hung out got old.
I'm so glad I'm not like in my 20s or in college or like anything like that. I really, really enjoy like doing the mundane mom things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. I'm a high school teacher and I'm a mom, and I have like all these crazy hobbies. Okay,
just real quick.
Fairy gardens. I make fairy gardens.
Okay, just like no. Okay, now just we're gonna hold fairy gardens, and then what's a name another one?
I have a lot of conversations with people while I'm walking around the neighborhood, and I get to know people in my neighborhood in strange ways, and I'm not afraid to talk about weird things with people.
Okay, that's a skill.
Oh, okay, yeah. Skill.
Yeah, and then what's something else like? Okay, so really quickly, from Louisiana.
Yes.
right? So you do some like voodoo stuff, don't you? Like you're into like voodoo things, or like what are you into?
Yeah. No, I like all that voodoo stuff.
Oh, okay, you're just in kind of you decorate your house like that.
I do.
You
I
like
decorate.
Halloween? Yeah,
A lot.
Okay.
And then I help my friends sell voodoo art. She's from Louisiana.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
You want to give a quick? Does she have like an Instagram? You want to give her a quick shout out?
Oh yeah, Bayou Brook Voodoo.
Bayou Brook Voodoo at Bayou Brook Voodoo.
Yeah,
Okay.
she makes voodoo totems, and like she'll find like people will give her like skulls.
Like people, like skulls from people they knew, or like just skulls they just found.
Like animal skulls that they find.
Okay.
And then her parents had a camp in the swamp, and skulls would wash up on the shore of their camp, and they
like what kind of skulls?
Animal skulls. I mean, there's all sorts of like weird animals in the swamps.
No human skulls.
I don't think so. Not yet.
Not one human skull washed up in Louisiana in the swamp? You're kidding me.
No, but they had some weird guy at the last convention that we did, like the last art show, who was like willing to sell her like all these weird skulls at like an undisclosed price. And like she got his number.
Because she wanted to report him or what?
No, because she wanted to like buy weird types of skulls.
But we talking about human skulls?
I don't know. He didn't
it's like
really
some underground human skull ring.
Yeah, it's like I know he's got like monkey skulls and like giraffe skulls.
Is that illegal?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's illegal, but they look really
giraffe
cool on
skulls
her
good for voodoo?
art. Man, you should see her art. It's like voodoo totem art.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And so she'll put like animals in the sun, and she'll let the sun and bugs like eat at the skulls.
For authenticity, I'm assuming.
Well, to bleach it and to clean it naturally.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And she's also a suburban mom. You just don't know what kind of suburban moms are out there. That's why it's like
I can just see like some kid coming home from her house, and she's like, mom, you're never gonna believe what happens. Like she takes these dead animals and she like holds them in the sun in the backyard, and you're like, hey, like don't be making up stories. She's a very nice lady.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's so true. Like her kids were watching that Disney movie that takes place in Louisiana, Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
And like her daughter was like, "Oh, mommy, look, it's a voodoo person like you."
Wow.
And her daughter's like 4.
But it's a lifestyle. It's a cult. Like it is. It's what she's into, right?
Yeah.
What was it again? Say it one more time.
Bayou Brook Voodoo.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure to get that.
Yeah, that's my bestie.
Yeah.
So she says I'm her unofficial manager because she's really shy. She's an artist, and like she just doesn't like to talk about her artwork. So she hires me to go and sell her art at shows.
See, that's another job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do all sorts of weird,
You
interesting things.
didn't mention that, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things.
Right. So let's get quickly. Okay. So what we're talking before the podcast started, that you're going to start giving your son an allowance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said that if y'all go to Dairy Queen, you're going to make him pay.
Yes. But back up a little.
Wait, but hang on. Would you agree as a parent, like one of your jobs is feeding your child?
Absolutely. But
okay, so why are you making him pay for Dairy Queen?
Because that's a treat.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I mean, we cook. I cook everything.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I mean, we eat well, right? Dairy Queen's a treat.
Yeah.
And he's extremely spoiled. He's an only child, and he's gotten everything he's ever wanted. And now that he's 7 years old, I'm like, maybe I need to back up a little.
You know, I mean, probably not going to be the easiest task, but
No.
I think it's worth the fight. It's worth to try, right?
Right.
It makes a difference.
I have this ladies group that I'm a part of. And I say it's a ladies group because we like pay dues and it's not
a fraternity.
No, it's not a sorority. It's adult women, and we just happen to all be creative people who are all pretty similar to some extent. And anyway, so I was hanging out with some of these ladies. We went to go see Alt J on Saturday, and I was telling her about my kid who had a fit in the middle of Barnes and Nobles because he didn't get a stuffed animal that he wanted. And like, he literally at 7 years old, like hit the floor and started screaming. And I was like, okay, this is not okay. You should behave a lot better than this because I said no, you couldn't have a stuffed animal.
Okay, so hey, what do you do? I like in that moment, like you described that moment. And I was thinking, like, what if my daughter did that? Like, what if I did? What'd you do?
It was so embarrassing because he's like a 10-year-old, like his size.
He's big.
He's huge. And so he's throwing this fit in the middle of Barnes and Nobles on a Saturday morning. And so I just sat on the floor, like right where we were at. I made him sit down and I was like, I love you, but you're embarrassing me. And everybody is looking at you and you're not getting a stuffed animal. Like that's not happening. And so we checked out and once we got to the car and he was buckled in, I'm like, you're punished. And oh, that was a whole nother episode of crying. And like, he said some really awful things to me, like in the car ride. And so he was punished from his video games and his TV for 2 or 3 days. And so I was telling my friend Lisa about this and she was like, girl, you need to like give him an allowance. And like, he doesn't have to work for it. Like you just put like money in the allowance, like every week, like whether it's $10 or whatever else. And then
he gets to decide.
And then he can decide what he wants to buy.
If he wants to waste his money on a stuffed animal.
Or Dairy Queen. Yeah, because today we went to the skate park and then he was like, I want Dairy Queen. And I'm like, ugh, okay. Like you have to eat real food, like instead of ice cream. Like.
Okay, so here's where we're going with this. I'm just going to like name things and you're going to tell me if he has to pay for them or if y'all are going to pay for them.
Yeah, I know. But my friend said like make him pay for everything. And I think that's a good point. Like my husband got him a video game today. Like.
Well, I mean, what's he doing? He's messed up the system.
Oh, yeah. No, my husband and I have completely different systems.
Well, I mean, but you know, I mean, like, can't be. I mean, he's like, is he getting allowance and getting free video games?
No, I haven't set up the app yet because I'm not a technologically advanced person.
Before you leave today, we'll do that together. You don't even worry about that. The app will be different when I need it, probably. But like, it's good to get some training in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So did you grow up in Louisiana?
I did.
Okay. So, just give me like, I'm just curious, because people don't know, my girlfriend is from that area as well. Give me just like a brief synopsis of what you feel like growing up in Louisiana mean. Because I grew up in Texas, so it's like this. But, you know, Louisiana, I mean, we're touching butts. You know, we're close. So,
yeah, but it's like a whole nother country.
Right.
Wait, I have a funny story that'll explain everything.
Yeah.
So back in the day, whenever we were in college,
by the way, we met in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and she hung out with all my friends and yeah, we all hung out together.
Yes.
Big group.
So I brought a suburban full of your fraternity brothers to Louisiana.
Ugh.
One weekend.
This is like a nightmare. Hey, how many were there? And let me see if I can guess who they were.
Well,
nobody don't know their names, but just really quickly. Okay, I'm just gonna start saying names. You tell me yes or no.
Okay. Well,
Denny?
Yes.
Jason?
I don't think he came.
Dennis?
No.
Jody?
No, but there was, you remember Brandon? You remember him?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the funny story.
Okay, yeah, go.
Okay.
Okay, so really quickly, we all went to college together and she took a group of my fraternity brothers to Louisiana and there was a guy there named Brandon.
Who was adorable.
Yes, he was just kind of a shy, he was a shy guy. He's a shy guy.
Yes. But we get to my grandmother's house and he walked into my grandmother's house and he had like almost a straight panic attack being in my grandmother's house, went out into her front yard and rolled around in the grass screaming.
What?
Because of all the statues. He was so freaked out by her house that he like...
Did you think to warn him?
I guess I didn't realize it was weird.
So that gets back to like living in Louisiana, right? Yeah. Because things like that weren't weird.
No, like having like 100, 200 statues of like Jesus in your house, like the Virgin Mary, like that's like Mary's my bitch. Oh, I probably can't.
No, you're
okay.
Fine.
Like I have Virgin Mary. I have the Virgin Mary statue like all over my house. I'm a Catholic, but I'm not a good Catholic. Like,
is everybody in Louisiana Catholic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, but the reason why
it's a different type of Catholic, would you say?
Oh yeah, I call it Cajun voodoo Catholic.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, like when I'd go visit my grandma, she would like while I was sleeping, she would like cut my hair.
No way.
And like send it to different people to pray over.
When did you find out your grandma was cutting your hair at night? When she did it, or like later on in life?
Well, so like I moved in with my grandma after my divorce from my first husband.
Oh, so she was doing this as an adult?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I thought you were like a kid. I was like,
I mean, she would do it when I was a kid too, but I mean, like, definitely as an
did you ever
adult.
notice your hair was going?
No, it's only whenever I realized, whenever I moved back and I was like,
She's good at that.
I lived with her for 3 months and I was like, oh my gosh. And I stayed with her every day. I mean, we lived next door to each other. So I was at her house all the time. And so
you said this was after your first divorce?
I moved in with her after my first divorce. Was
that very healing? Was being there? What was it like to be there, like after kind of going out on your own and doing your own thing and then kind of coming back?
It was so beautiful. I mean, honestly, it was so great I had to move back to Louisiana after that.
Yeah. It's like people that haven't been divorced don't understand like how difficult it kind of is, or it can be. I could say. I guess some people might not have any problem with it, but I think most people
loved every single second of it, and
because you knew it was the right thing.
Well, no, looking back, I loved it. During it, I didn't like it. But
it was creating a better future for you.
Yeah,
you didn't realize it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I had a 364-day marriage, literally from the day I know.
No, I was trying to think of what mine would be. Mine was like a year and a half, so mine wasn't much longer than that. Yeah.
So you get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess mine was a year. It was like a year and something.
I'm always a little embarrassed whenever I talk about it because it was so short.
I don't think that I don't. You know, I've always had a bunch of old people tell me like, you know, you don't know what it's like to be married until you're married. Like you think you know if you live with somebody, blah blah whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just different. And it wasn't like tremendously different, but there was a difference. There was a difference of like the way you're committing yourself and the way that like, you know, you just can't just go like, hey, I'm going to my apartment. See you later. You just can't do those kind of things. Right.
Yeah.
And so you don't know what that's like until you're in it. And then once you get in it, if it's the wrong person, it might show itself very, very fast.
And you can't go the long haul with that one particular person. It just wasn't possible.
And it's a very tough decision to make. But I mean, I would hope somebody at their gut would kind of know that it's the right decision and do it, even though it would be tough. But I think a lot of people just kind of go, well, I'm just going to kind of ride this out. And you know, sometimes you got to cut bait. And and not in a mean way, but that sounds like what you did. Like you got it. You're like, ooh, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
Like
I blew out my ACL, MCL, and meniscus 2 weeks after we were married, and like just seeing how he reacted with that, I was like, oh, this is not going to be okay. So it like early on, and it was in West Texas.
Was there any of those signs before you got married? Was there anything that you look back on and you go, wow, I should have recognized this or I should have recognized that?
Yeah, maybe. Like a friend of mine hooked us up because it was her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, so it's her fault.
Yeah.
What's her name? No, I'm just kidding.
She's a great chick.
No. I'm just. That has. Hey, sorry. Her hooking you up has nothing to do with your failure.
Her hooking me up with her ex-boyfriend.
Well, that's who he was.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay,
she was
maybe
like, oh my God, like you guys would be so great together. Yeah.
So great that you don't want him, but it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, we're very different people.
Yeah, that's what that means, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I really, in all honesty, I wasn't going to make it in West Texas. I'm a Cajun girl. I have way too many opinions. So in West Texas, they kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit more of a man-centered environment out there.
It's just, it might be
traditional.
Well, I was going to say stereotypical.
Oh yeah.
Of what people think Texas could be.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, it's not Central Texas.
Yeah, we're not also with all those weirdos.
All them weirdos.
All those weirdos down there.
Yeah. Thank goodness for Central Texas.
Anyways, so I had asked you kind of like, what was it like? You know, obviously, you know, your grandmother having all these Virgin Marys. I mean, like, but what was it like being a kid in like Louisiana?
So my parents sent me to an all-girls Catholic school an hour away.
Wait, like, so you went and you slept there and stuff?
No.
Like you went every day?
Did. Yes. I had to catch the bus at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh,
and we had to ride an hour to school and then an hour back. And they did that because the public schools in Louisiana are really not that great. I taught in public schools, but like Louisiana's got this thing where they do, I mean, if you have any money whatsoever, you send your kids to private school. And so my parents sent me there. And so Louisiana in and of itself is a great place to live. I love it. I am Cajun through and through. My husband's Cajun. We go back 3 or 4 times a year. But Louisiana is just like incredibly backwards.
Yeah.
Like it's like a whole nother environment. It's it's a completely different country. I mean, we call our counties parishes. Yeah. Right? Nobody really starts work until noon on Monday. Yeah. And then most people are off of work at noon on Friday. Yep. So like you work like
some people drink at work. Some people drink on their break at lunch.
I mean, you make a joke, but
no, I'm being very serious.
Okay.
No, yeah. It's a different way of life.
Alcohol consumption is insane.
Look, there's a reason why Ricky Williams didn't do very well for the Saints when he played in New Orleans, because I mean it's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to live. That's hard living.
Louisiana, mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's what I would picture people when they live in Las Vegas kind of maybe experience on some similar level, but it's different, way different, right?
Well, and the culture goes back like I mean before the United
generations
States,
and generations of just people living there, right?
I mean before the United States was the United States, New Orleans was thriving. Yeah. You know, like it was a. And I had this principal that I worked for once, and I was really having a hard time moving from Austin to Louisiana, moving back home. And I actually had a principal give me a hard time telling me that cowboy boots were not school appropriate. Right. I'm like, some of these hooker teachers wear like high heels and like short skirts, and you're telling me my cowboy boots are not appropriate.
What school did you go to? I was kidding.
So I was having
no teachers in my school doing that. They were all old, wearing like old long dresses with pantyhose that were the wrong color.
You're really?
Yeah, my school. My hometown's 5,000 people.
Yes, Victoria.
Yeah.
I've been here.
No, Edna.
Oh, okay.
Victoria's just kind of where I tell people to look so they can find it on the map.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Denny and them were from Victoria.
Yes.
But we were in Victoria all the time. It's like going to like
the big city.
Yeah. No, for real, that's what it is. Anyways, go ahead, proceed. Sorry.
I don't know. I just had like a really hard time moving back. And so one of the principals there, he was like, this is how I look at it. He's like, Louisiana was founded by whores and convicts. Hence the reason why we have what we have. Like, I mean, if you look back at the history, like really the people that were coming to Louisiana were not good people like coming into New Orleans. They were coming into New Orleans because they had to move away from Europe and then a lot of people that are Cajun descent, they were actually slaves in Canada and they were exiled from Canada and exiled.
That's where the French comes from, huh? Like learning the.
Yeah. I mean, those are the Cajuns. Those come from Nova Scotia because at that time being Catholic was against the law. So they were like, okay, well, if you're Catholic, then you become a slave. And so there was this dude named Beausoleil who like got a whole bunch of Cajuns and got them out of slavery and brought them down to like, I don't know. They ended up in Louisiana. There's a whole bunch of Cajuns that are like sprinkled all across the coast, but they ended up coming into the port of New Orleans and up in the bayous. And so that's why Catholicism is so strong there. Like if you're not Catholic, like then what are you? Right. You know, like my grandma severely thinks that if you're not Catholic, you're going to hell, period. No.
I mean, and that's part of that culture. Like that's.
It's so awesome. Like the only time I really, like I said, I'm Catholic, but not a good Catholic. Mm-hmm. The only time I really go to church is whenever I go home and I go to church with her.
Well, why else? When else would you go to church?
I don't know. I'm not getting up on a Sunday morning going to church.
No, but I mean, like, I want to go to church with your grandma. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's a good time to go to church.
I mean, so there's like some dark parts of Catholicism, especially like her Catholicism, because she believes like I tell this story sometimes and it's really so she had this thing about the days of darkness. Have you ever heard about that? No, probably
Like
not.
Army of Darkness?
No. So she would, it's like, this was like one of my childhood stories.
I feel like it sounds familiar, but I'm not too sure.
She'd be like, baby, she's like, let me tell you about a story. In the future, there's going to be 3 days of darkness, Sha. 3 days. And you need to cover up the windows with sheets, Sha. And you're going to hear a knock on the door. And you're going to hear, Kyla, it's your daddy. But Kyla, it's not going to be your daddy. It's going to be the devil, Sha. Don't open the door for the devil. Like, she's been waiting for the 3 days of darkness my whole entire life. Like, my whole entire life.
Wait, so does she have stuff on the window like right now? Like, is it always up?
Yes.
So she's always ready.
She's got it into
it's
the
not like
world
room. It's not like Christmas where she's taking it down and putting it back up.
But that's why Brandon freaked out, because like she's got an end of the world room where she's got like gas masks and like and like ready, like those military meals. Like, she's ready for the end of the world. And I'm like, that's how I was like raised with it.
Would she like me?
Oh, she would absolutely love you.
Are you sure? How's she feel about tattoos?
Oh, she's good.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've got tattoos.
Because I kind of like, when this all comes out, I kind of want to do a video and just go visit her and film the whole thing.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I've had people do that. I've actually had a friend do that. I don't think that it ever panned out, but they did come and video her, and like, because Cajun momos, I mean, yeah, those women, and I look and I'm going to look just like her. Like, whenever I get older, like I see pictures, and she only had like up to a 3rd grade education. Yeah. So she's like super simple. Yeah. And
yeah, they're not making anything complicated, right?
No. And I talk to her probably, I'd like to say 3 times a week I talk to her. So she's still kicking.
How old is she?
91.
We gotta get this team up there fast.
Oh man.
But I mean, yeah, but she, how long do you think, is she in pretty good health?
She's in decent health.
For being 91.
She never drank. She never smoked. Yep. She eats like crap.
Yeah, everybody's got a vice.
No, she loves fast food.
Really?
Yeah.
What does she get? What's her favorite fast? And if you tell me Popeyes, I'm gonna throw this mic at you. There's no way she won't eat Popeyes, right?
Babe, I got a burger.
From where?
Usually the Burger King or the McDonald's, one of the two, Chef.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's great. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. That was the hardest part about moving back here, because I spent 10 years at home with her, and I would go to church with her every Sunday, and
this is before or after we met?
After.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up with her, and then but
when you moved back.
Yeah. Okay. So when I moved back, it was really special, because like hanging out with your grandparents, and actually my other grandparents were alive at the time too. And part of the reason why I moved back is because my grandparents passed, my other grandparents. But that was the best part of moving home at 30. It was hanging out with my grandparents, like all of them. Like my social life in Louisiana was, hey, let's go hang out with the grandparents.
But did you appreciate that at the time? Did you realize how powerful that was at 30? The time?
Yes.
Yeah, you have a better idea, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whenever I was a teenager, no.
I'm on this kind of kick that like a lot of people that I bring on the podcast, when they've had a lot of interaction with older people, they're how grounded they are, and their sense of self and stuff like that is way different. I think we not only have lost communication between like people, but we've really lost communication between old people, because they don't text. You gotta go see them in person and stuff like that. And my greatest gift I've had so far is my job that I've had to interact with old people and understand what life, kind of how it goes. Yeah. And then you know how to treat people. Would you agree?
Yeah. My other grandmother and grandfather were texters. So
my grandparents didn't even have email.
Yeah.
So
that made it real great, to deal with them. But my mama, my Cajun mama, I have to send her pictures in the mail for her to see. And I think being around older people, and like, I was listening to a podcast today talking about like the finality of life. So I think keeping older people around you and talking to your people that you're related to, or even people that you're not related to, like even just old people in your neighborhood. It keeps you focused on time.
Yeah. And what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how great it is to be living like healthy and young. Like, I mean, some days I feel young, some days I don't feel young.
Yeah, it just gets worse.
No,
It just gets worse.
Yeah. But I think just being around older people gives you the wisdom and makes you think about the finality of things. And so I cherish it. And I don't have a lot of old people in my life now that I live here.
Yeah.
But in Louisiana, I mean,
do you take your son to see?
Oh my God,
his great grandmother, right?
We
Is
go
that right?
3 times a year, and
awesome.
His favorite place is his grandmother's house. So my husband's mom's house.
Oh, okay.
And so I ask him sometimes, like those open-ended questions that like people should ask their kids. I get on Pinterest and I keep a list of questions for my kid.
I like it.
Yeah, I ask him where he wants to live, and he's like, Nana's house, like out in the country. Like my mother-in-law doesn't have the internet. She has window units. She lives like 5 miles down a gravel road. Yes, but it doesn't always work
because of the signal.
Yeah. And she lives in the same house that my husband grew up in.
Did his dad pass away?
No, his dad like got remarried and like lives in Alabama.
So it's just her out there by herself.
Well, no, she got remarried.
Oh, she got remarried. So he has a stepdad.
Yeah.
And they live out there together.
Yeah. My husband's dad is like a Ren Fair king in Alabama.
A what?
A Ren Fair king. He
like
has his,
like when they dress up as like knights and shit.
Yeah, he's got his own Ren Fair, and he's the king, and his wife's the queen. It's fun. We went to their wedding, and it was a Ren Fair.
Did you dress up?
Absolutely.
Was that the funnest wedding you've ever been to?
Yeah. It was up there. My cousin got married in North Carolina this past year, and that was definitely.
But you didn't get to dress up for that one, did you?
I mean, I found like a really great dress at Goodwill. Well, yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I'm on this kick of like why when you have like we have the access to the internet and eBay and all the things now, why would you buy anything brand new? You can find great stuff that's been barely used and stuff like that. And because of eBay, you have the world at your fingertips to try to find this junk.
I can't wait. I keep telling my girlfriends, I was like, let's go to Westlake and go to Goodwill.
Hey, straight up, this whole outfit is from Ross. Shout out to Ross and my outfit. Come on.
I mean, think about it. Like Westlake Goodwill, like they've got to have like super amazing.
I think they shift that stuff around a little bit, but
they can't. I've got to go. No, I'm waiting for the weekend. My girlfriends and I are going to rate it. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a choice. Which you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about your Catholic school girl days, which I'm sure is going to be very highly voted on by my audience of all 14 guys, or do you want to talk about, would you say they're called fairy gardens?
No, let's not talk about the fairy gardens.
You don't talk about, hey, we're talking about fairy gardens for this over with. I was just giving you a choice which one to do first. You got to give me a quick synopsis. I mean, you know what I mean? So, do you want to talk about fairy? Are you cool talking about fairy gardens?
We can do a little thing about
we're going to talk about what it was like, because I don't know if I know. Knowingly know a girl that went to an all-girls Catholic school. So just I don't know, what was that like? Like how old were you when you went? Like what were the ages?
So my parents sent me there. Actually, it's a funny story. So I went to an Episcopalian school for elementary, and then my parents put me in public school for like 6 weeks, the beginning of my 6th grade year.
Okay.
And I had this math teacher.
Were you 13 at that time? 12, 13?
What, 6th grade?
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, I think that's 12.
You're almost a teenager.
Yeah.
Close. Okay.
So they sent me to public school. First time I've ever been in public school for 6 weeks. And the math teacher was like, "Oh, she's boy crazy." My mom was like, "Oh, shit." So her and my dad. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just checking.
Boys are Cute. Yeah, so they sent me to an all-girls Catholic school in response to that teacher saying that I was boy crazy.
Okay.
My mom had, and it was ridiculously expensive. Like I would never pay for that. But my
You need to drive there an hour there and back?
yeah.
So 2 hours a day?
2 hours on a bus.
Oh, it was a bus?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mr. Pat was my bus driver the
Gross.
whole time
Yeah.
for 6 years. Yeah. There was one time
so
I
it was a
smoked
whole
a
squad
cigarette
of y'all
on the
that
bus.
did this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still talk to a lot of my girlfriends from that time period. We only had 28 girls in our graduating class. So it was really small. Salma Hayek went to my school.
Same time you did?
No, she's a little bit older.
Yeah. She's quite a bit older, I think.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 10 years older.
Yeah, that's what I was going to guess.
Yeah. So the school started in 1821.
Shut up.
Yeah. I'll have to show you pictures because it's beautiful.
That's wild.
It's absolutely gorgeous. So I hate saying the word blessed because it's so ridiculous, but I'm really lucky to have gone to that school. At the time, once I got a little bit older, like in high school, and I was like, I really want to go to a public school so I can like meet boys and go to football games because that was not a part of my high school thing. But the education I got was crazy good.
Sure.
And I'd like to be able to bring that into public school. But I graduated in 98. So early 90s, feminism, third wave feminism, that was a thing. I had a lot of teachers who were hippie, pagan, feminist.
At the school?
Yes. And then we had some nuns,
It's a Catholic school.
Yeah. But the women that were teaching us were amazing. And they, I took women's history.
Did you find it empowering?
I didn't realize that's what it was.
But at the time?
Yeah, I didn't realize. But like my senior year of high school, I took female sexuality in the Catholic Church.
All right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What does that mean?
So, we studied the Catholic Church and female sexuality and how those intersect.
Do they? I feel like they're like on different streets.
You would think that they would, but my teacher, who was a doctor, she was a PhD. She was also my English teacher, and I'll tell you about that English class in a second. But she and her husband met, and they fell madly in love and married 2 weeks after they met.
Oh, wow.
That is, as long as you're married, you can have sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, yeah, I knew my husband for 2 weeks and I got married.
No sex.
In the 2 weeks that they were dating, no.
Yeah.
But after they got married, sure.
Man, that guy's
So they had to get
a
married.
closer right there.
They had to get married to have sex.
Yeah.
And that's what she told him. She was a hot little number.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Mm-hmm. So, we had those kind of people teaching us, but she was my English teacher, and we had a 10-page paper due every Friday before Google, before the internet.
Oh, yeah, it was rough.
Right?
Yeah.
Every Friday, 10-page paper.
Ugh.
So we had to like read books.
Ugh.
So like whenever my kids
I would not
at
do well at this
school,
school. Besides the fact I'm a guy, but like other than that, like not,
it was great.
I know. I'm sure it was for people, but like I've learned over my time that I might have like a form of dyslexia. So reading's like really hard for me.
Oh,
That's why we
yeah.
have this little conversation about audiobooks because that's all I do now. But I love it. I feel like I'm really reading for once.
Yes, no, I'm
but
a
it's
fan.
it's made me a better reader. I feel like too. Like when I actually have to read stuff, it's made me a better reader.
Do you ever do the audiobook and reading at the same time?
Nah, just because the only one I could do that on, my mom bought me Tim McGraw's like book about health and fitness, and then I had to get an audiobook so that I could like actually listen to it. And it's the only one I could read like that. But I don't want to like hear Tim McGraw. But Tim McGraw doesn't read the book to you. That's what's so disappointing. He reads the intro, and then they get some guy with a real thick country accent to read the rest of it. It's not cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt gypped.
I hear the Matthew McConaughey Green Lights
It's
book.
great. Love it.
Only way my girlfriends
It's
are like
the only way. It's the only way to read that book.
That's what they say.
That's my selling point. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah,
it's
that's
awesome.
what they say.
Yeah, he just has a really good speaking voice, I think.
Kind of like you.
Well, I get that every once in a while. I take that as a compliment. So how would you, I mean, just very loosely and lightly, how would you describe college for you?
Well,
and I'll tell you what I'm getting at so that you can kind of direct it that direction. How do you feel like your going to this all girls school affected what happened in college and like how you were in college?
so I feel
Because I mean, this could be
yeah, no,
it could be stereotypical, or you could have a totally different feeling on it.
No, I mean it's true because oh shit. So I got a really great education. I was able to write, and I'd like to consider myself a smart person. Right?
I think you're a smart person.
So college was easy.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to crack a book open.
Yeah.
At all whatsoever.
I mean, and just so you know, that's the impression I got of you in college.
Yeah. I didn't.
So it left for a lot of free time. You know what I mean?
So much free time.
Yeah.
A lot of free time. I probably, looking back, so whenever I got to Texas State, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Look at all these corn-fed Texas boys. Cute. Oh, like
there's good looking people there.
Oh, just the country Texas boys.
But no offense. If you'd been at an all girls school that whole time, you could have showed Texas State. Those guys could have been ugly as hell, and you'd been like, look at these guys. I haven't seen guys ever. You know what I mean?
It was so different to socialize with boys. And I think that's why I really enjoyed like your crowd.
Because we're a bunch of nerds.
No, I felt like y'all were cool though.
Well, we're just cool enough. We weren't that cool. Don't, hey.
Okay.
And y'all can all at me.
In my memories.
Well, I appreciate that.
But y'all
I felt like we were
like
just kind of average cool.
But I think I like the average cool because
we were real people. Like a lot of fraternities kind of tend to be fake.
I just couldn't hang with some of the other fraternities because I wasn't in the popular sororities
or whatever, right?
You know, like I wasn't blonde enough. I wasn't proper enough. I was kind of one of the guys.
Right.
Strangely enough, going to an all girls school.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah, it is. But like, I really got along with like Dane and Brent and like some
all my fraternity brothers.
Yeah. I just like I don't know. We would just hang out and listen to CDs. Like, isn't that so nerdy? Like, we would hang out and listen to CDs.
Well, I mean, it just dates you. It's not making nerdy.
Like whenever Dr. Dre 2001 came out.
Oh yeah.
That's all we listened to. That's it. It was like on repeat constantly.
That's Snoop Dogg's first album was like that for me. We just listened to it all the time.
Man, we just had so much fun. So college was easy. I didn't even have to open a book. And then I just had a blast. And that was before cell phones. So I had an answering machine in my dorm or a sorority house whenever I lived there. And like my mom would call and like leave messages on the answer machine. But like I didn't have to like, oh, I was at the library studying. Not.
Yeah. So do you feel like that going to this all girl? So here, let me ask it more this way. So I have a daughter. What would you recommend? What would you be your recommendation?
Absolutely not.
Okay, why? In your opinion,
because I think public school teaches you more
about life. Yeah,
than a private school.
Did you find that was that the hard transition for you from going to this all girls school to going to Texas State?
I was definitely. I lived in an elitist world. I mean, girls that I went to school with were getting BMWs and Hummers. And I mean, you're talking about, I mean, my school is $20,000 a year.
It's like Mean Girls?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, honestly. And I was not the cool one.
Do you have a story? Just any story? Just like a good story? Of just something happening at that school. I didn't have to be a Mean Girls, and it didn't have to be bad, but I don't know. Just it shows the dynamic of what we're talking about. Maybe speaks to that. You don't have to.
Mean Girls wise, I mean, some of it's like really stupid, but I mean, at the
time it probably meant something, but now it's really stupid, right?
I just the money, the absolute money that I was surrounded with, at a young age, and like my grandmother died whenever I was 5 years old. And so my mom got an inheritance and she decided to spend that inheritance on my private schooling, right?
Oh,
Because
wow.
Louisiana doesn't have really good public
Yeah,
schools
yeah.
and I had tested gifted. And so my mom didn't want to put
There's
me.
boys and yeah.
She didn't want me, she wanted to send me to a school that would give me a better education. And mind you, she is very embarrassed that I am just a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
It'll be
like,
all right.
yeah, but most of the people that I graduated with are either married to doctors or lawyers themselves. Like I have people that I graduated with that have like their own private planes and shit.
Yeah.
Like it's like the money.
At that school.
Yeah. And just the money that breeds money
Yeah.
is pretty insane.
It's weird how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's so strange.
Well, would you say it's the reason Louisiana struggles, right? It's because money kind of breeds money, but there's no money there. It can't grow.
Well, the people that vote, their money is spent on private schools, so they're not going to vote on things for public. And the poverty is just ridiculous in Louisiana. And actually, your girlfriend and I were talking about like the segregated. My hometown is segregated.
Yeah. And people don't really understand that. Like they don't get it.
It's not like legally segregated.
Yeah, it just happens to.
But it's segregated.
Yeah.
Like there's a black side of town and there's a white side of town. And we don't really have any other races. Like there's been a few Hispanics moving in, but really not a lot.
And they probably got displaced from Houston. Things like that, right? Yeah.
Yes. And like the black side of town, the schools look like prisons, and on the white side of town, the schools look like colleges. Like it's insanity.
You said you taught at an all black school, right?
Yeah, that's all I did for 10 years.
So,
and whenever we moved here, my husband was like, "Can you please not be Michelle Pfeiffer this time around?" Did you like that? Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah,
but it's all encompassing. So like once my kid's older, I'll go back to that because I'm looking to get into principal jobs next. So whenever my son's older, I want to be a principal at a failing school in the middle of a rough area. Like that's just my jam.
Where did that come from? What makes that a dream for you? Like
I function well.
I gotta think doing that brings you some level of happiness, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't put yourself in that position, right? So
I mean, some people call that like a white savior complex or
something. I don't think it has to be that way. I think that is it possible that someone could genuinely want to help someone that might not be the same race as them?
Yeah,
right?
No.
And I think I know you well, and I see you. That's who you were in our fraternity, helping all these poor. These guys that couldn't get it together or didn't have it together or were somehow not as lucky as some of the rest of us. Those are the guys you gravitated towards too and helped them. That's what I remember. So that I know it's genuine. I just wanted to hear from you, like
because I think it's easier to focus on other people's stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Rather than my own. And like, I have this like fear of like not doing enough while I'm on the planet. Like, am I doing enough for the greater good?
I think that is I think you can have like a healthy fear. I would call that a healthy fear in the sense of like, you want to always make sure you're doing enough. Like you should want to kind of check and make sure you're doing. That's important to check and make sure you're doing enough. I think personally.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I just being a teacher and working with people for so long, I love it. I love working in public schools. I can't see myself doing. My husband wants me to quit and go into like real estate, and I'm like, why? Like, there's no joy in that for me. Like,
you gotta do what you like to do.
Teaching is a hot mess right now. Like, it's a struggle. There's a reason why teachers are leaving in droves at the moment. But like, there's so much to do for the world, for our society, to educate children for our next generation. Think about it. Like, if we don't have an educated population, if we don't have kids that are being taken care of, like, what are we going to become in the next coming generations.
You ever seen Wall-E?
No. I mean,
okay.
Yes, I have a long time ago, but I don't really remember
anyway,
it.
everybody becomes a fat slob in Wall-E.
Everybody becomes a what?
Fat slob.
Oh.
Like they become nothing, basically.
Right.
It's just like, you ever seen Idiocracy?
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
Same thing, right? Everybody just becomes an idiot.
But it's true. But
Yeah.
I mean, like I fear that.
Well, because everybody either wants to be a TikTok star, a rapper, a basketball player. Like they want to play a professional sport or sing, and it's like we can't all do that. Some of us are gonna have to be plumbers. And
look,
by the way, plumbers make really good money.
Yes, I wish my kids would become plumbers. Like I have so many conversations with these children that I teach, and they make fun of me. They do really great impressions of me, but it's like I'm like, you're on the TikTok or the Snappy Chat. Like, why aren't you like having conversations? Like we have kids that want to do nothing right now. And I live in a really privileged area of Central Texas, right? Like Hutto. That's it. It's
an up and coming town. It's kind of booming. Yeah.
The median income is super high. These kids come from homes where both parents work. Like they have both parents. Like it's just, the houses are phenomenal. All these kids have great clothes and cell phones and things of that nature. And they just don't care. Like COVID really messed these kids up, these high school kids.
I mean, you just automatically doubled down on what was already messed up anyway. In my opinion, is them being on social media and on devices. You just doubled it up. Like all the time that they weren't on it. Well, now they're on it all the time because they're doing it for school and they're doing it for this and doing it for that.
Yeah, and they do dumb stuff. Like we actually had a womp womp. I'm about to get like super down, but we had a kid that died recently because they were doing this TikTok thing where it was like they were doing Russian roulette with a gun or something like that. Yeah, another kid shot another kid in the face and like killed her. And it was like a TikTok challenge.
Man.
Yeah, like how, I mean, I know I'm getting like low, but I mean.
No, you're just basically.
I mean, that's the type of like crap we deal with these kids. And like they don't see anything relevant in education. Well,
it's to your original point is that like, if we want things like that to not happen, man, you need to get in and educate your kid. Like you need to start like interacting with them, talking to them, doing that kind of stuff, right? Like if you want them to not, do something really horrible or stupid, right? Well, I mean, get in there. I mean, get
in there, but also like I feel like people need to pay attention to the public school system. I like people in general, like voters, right? Like society needs to pay attention to public school
because the majority of kids are going to go to public school. But overwhelming,
absolutely,
yeah,
yes, absolutely. In
Texas,
is
it different in different states?
It is in Louisiana.
Majority of kids go to private school in Louisiana?
It's like 50-50.
I mean, that's
but
a lot.
Only the upper echelon goes to private and then the lower goes to public.
All right, let's shift the mood a little bit and go back to your fairy garden. Get away from bad TikToks.
Yeah.
So what is a fairy garden?
So I have different fairy gardens. The one that's on my front.
There's more than one.
I have several.
Okay.
But the one on my front porch.
Can you give me just the concept of what a fairy garden is, and then we go through the different types? Would that be okay?
So I found a bird cage in Goodwill.
Okay.
And I redecorated the bird cage. Okay. It was like this really pretty bird cage. And so I put I added a bottom and then I added stuff around the bird cage, different fairy lights and crystals. And then I got a little fairy girl and I put her in there and I have solar lights and I have this really cute table and with a mini box of wine and like a mini wine glass filled with wine.
There's actual wine in there?
Well, I mean, it's
fake wine, right?
Yeah, it's fake wine.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a fairy-sized box of wine and a fairy-sized glass of wine.
Fairy garden is something that you know of or you created and you did?
No, I definitely did not create it. But during COVID, I mean, there were you.
Yeah, this was my fairy garden. This is my fairy garden.
You started this and I just started I don't know, I Pinterest.
Okay, so how many do you have?
About 5 or 6.
Okay, front yard, backyard?
front yard on my patio.
Only?
No,
Backyard
I have
too?
lots in my backyard. And I
Okay.
made one for my son that's like dinosaur fairy garden where I have like dinosaurs like underneath trees and everything else
How's
like
your husband
that.
feel about this?
He doesn't care.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does his thing. I do my thing. But I'm having a Enchanted Forest prom. I'm in charge of prom in my high school. And it's we have lots of fairy gardens going on our tables. And so the kids are making fairy gardens for prom.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, how I always kind of wrap this thing up is everybody comes on, the kind of concept of the whole show is like, how do we balance our life? How do we make it good? And I would go out on a limb and say probably making fairy gardens is like one of the ways you kind of relax and kind of chill. And is that true?
Yeah.
So what are some other things that you do to kind of help like just balance your load of like how school system is and TikTok and all?
I read.
You read?
I read a lot.
And you read.
Oh yeah, like in my purse.
No,
I have
I saw that you had a book in there.
Yeah.
Do you have I have an unofficial book club.
Oh.
And what that means is every time a book comes up, I say I have an unofficial book club.
Yeah.
And then I give her. So you have a recommendation on a book?
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Sarah J. Maas.
Okay, this is fictional.
It's fiction. It's
Okay.
fairy.
It's fairies? No, hey.
It's fairy fiction. And like my husband
Hey, as long as y'all don't start having like, you know, big like banquets and like conventions, like fairy fiction conventions.
No, but it's like my husband's like, he calls them my fairy sex books because because it's
That's aggressive.
I know. Well, it's because it's and I'm a fan of her book, which I did not start reading Sarah J. Maas until the Rona. I was not a fantasy reader. I've always been a historical fiction reader.
Okay, so what flipped you to reading fantasy books?
COVID. I don't know. Like somebody was like, "Oh, you really need to check this book out."
Were you skeptical?
Yes, absolutely, because I don't do fantasy. But now,
how long did it take you to get into it? Like, did you read the first couple of pages or what?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like a good 20 minutes before I got into it. But like she's got but her series are like 8 to 10 books long.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a lot. But they're all strong female protagonists.
Oh, okay.
And like right now I'm reading one that's like an assassin. She's an assassin. And so my son, was it my son? I think it was. I was like, "Oh, they're an assassin." And he was like, "Oh, so he is an assassin." And I was like, "Why do you automatically assume that the assassin is a man? It's a girl." And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Does he not know who Laura Croft is?
Oh,
you know who Laura Croft is?
Do I?
Okay, I was just kidding. I was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play video games back in the day?
No, but I dressed up as Lara Croft when I was doing Krav Maga hardcore in my 20s.
Fancy.
Yeah.
So what else do you do? What else do you do to kind of like to balance yourself out?
I exercise. I do kickboxing, yoga,
Camp
walking, Camp Gladiator.
Yeah.
Like I said, reading. And I am a huge TV person. Like now that I'm getting older, like sitting on the couch with a glass of wine and watching Pam and Tommy.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God, it's delicious.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'll try it.
Mm-hmm. And I hate saying that, like, I like to watch TV, but because before I met my husband, I didn't have a TV. So, but I like watching TV. Yeah.
Your parents are rough. Like, wait.
No, I purposely didn't have a TV.
I was like, they let you see boys. They let you have a TV. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a choice.
Yeah.
But I find like the more I kind of get involved in like doing this and like spending my time with my daughter and Aaron, like I don't watch a lot of TV anymore because of that. And not that I'm against TV. I think everybody should have their kind of the way you described it. I feel like you're kind of like, hey, this is the way I kind of kick back and relax. To get a glass of wine, I watch a show.
It's a new thing because we put a TV in my kid's room recently.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, my husband decided it. So I wasn't 100%, but that was the only way my kid was getting out of my bed.
Oh, okay, well, fair enough.
Was to be in his bed with a TV because he has to fall asleep with the TV. And I know that's a horrible habit.
You know what? I don't particularly think it's a great habit, but I also think that some people, even though it might disturb your sleep, they might not get any sleep without that kind of talking noise in the background.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm some sleep expert's going to say I'm wrong, but I just feel like, I mean, who am I to tell somebody how they want to sleep?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not my jam, but I mean, I had to get my kid out of my bed somehow. He's 7.
Yeah.
Like we got to have mommy and daddy time.
Like I could see, some parents, like, the kid gets out of the bed and then like, as they get older, they come and they're like, hey, you want to get in your bed? And then it kind of goes like that direction, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I could see where a parent, like, there's a lot of times when I'm with my daughter, I'm like, oh, you would come like my bed with me. And then I'm just like, no, don't do that. Like, don't start that habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can see how, you just want to be close to your kids. I mean, I do. Like, you want to hang out with them and stuff. Like, I do at least.
Yeah.
And
it took a long time to get him out. And he still comes in. Like, he still comes in at 3 a.m. and jumps in the bed. So it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody's hopefully doing the best they can by their kids. I would hope. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
And then save money for therapy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My kid's already in there.
Yeah, great. No, but I think that's great.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, having especially the way social media works.
Yeah.
If your kid's going to be on social media, well, go ahead and take that extra step and like get them some therapy going as well. So that they can at least talk to their therapist about what's happening on social media, right? Like, if they don't want to talk to you about it, maybe at least they'll talk to the therapist.
Well, he got diagnosed with ADHD and like he's getting in trouble. He's in first grade and like he's already getting in trouble for like not sitting still, of course. So we just started the whole therapy bit.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
I'm not worried.
Y'all are good. Yeah.
I'm not worried about my kid.
Hey, look, if he gets out of line, you take him to your great grandma's house and say, look, the end of days is coming. Stay for 3 days. It's ending. Do you do anything else? Like, what is, so you work out, wine, anything else you like to do? Anything odd? Anything that, like, in a sense of like, sometimes I play video games to relax. For some people that wouldn't be that way, but maybe you do Sudoku. I don't know.
I mean, I like to cook.
You big cook?
I do. I like to cook. I like to do yard work. Like,
are you like, stay the fuck out of my kitchen while I'm cooking? Are you that kind of person?
No.
Okay, you like people in the kitchen?
Absolutely.
But like, when I say people, do you like, like your mom and your grandma to be in the kitchen with you, or like your husband and your son are in there?
My husband and my kid and my neighbors.
You're cool with that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, the way our neighborhood works, like people walk in my house without even knocking. Like that's
wild.
I know but that's the way,
good.
That's the way my neighborhood works. So I like cooking, various different things as long as it's healthy, but the way our house is, it's an open concept. So like my kitchen is in the middle of my living room. And I mean, it's just a big open area. So
that's cool. That's probably, did you grow up something similar?
No.
There was no houses like that?
No.
I feel like people in Louisiana, like the families that kind of get together and cook, there was none of that?
Yeah, I mean, there was families
it just wasn't
that
the same
got
kind of
together.
floor.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same floor plan is what you're saying.
No, not at all. Like, I'd much rather hang out with my neighbors and my kid and my husband than like any
suburban life.
Yeah, than like my family.
Yeah. That's good. You should like them.
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
You're stuck with them for at least a little while.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But I mean, I'm sure that my husband gets irritated with all my social plans because I'm always doing something.
He's not as much of a social bug.
He'd like to be.
But it's hard for him.
I just have so many friends and I'm an introvert, which is strange because I have so many friends and being an introvert, but I know so many interesting people and I'm always like getting texts like, hey, you want to do this? Yes. Like I have a habit of saying yes to everything.
Well, I think that's great though, especially if you identify as being an introvert. I mean, the best thing you can do as an introvert is to say yes.
Yeah.
That's moderation at its finest right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. One more question before we go. Okay. If I go to Louisiana and I'm going to eat somewhere, where am I going to eat and what am I eating? And you gotta give the town. I mean, it can be in your hometown. I'm good with that.
Okay, so
but you give me let me know where we're at though.
Okay, Lafayette, Louisiana, Old Time Grocery.
Okay, a grocery store.
Okay,
I'm eating there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old Time Grocery. They have the best po' boys on the planet.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
I kind of want to go. I see your grandma and get a po' boy.
And I brought her last time I went.
Did you?
Yeah, I went and picked her up.
What did she say? Do your impression.
Me shrimp po' boy. Me babe, all I need is a shrimp po' boy shot. That's all I get. And look, and I brought her, and my grandma really loves Chinese restaurants, right? And like Chinese buffet, she calls it the Chinese buffet restaurants. But what she does, this bitch puts like food in a napkin.
Does not.
She does. She puts food in a napkin and puts it in her purse.
What does she take?
Oh man,
Like chicken
just
wings?
no, yeah, like I mean, but usually, my babe, sometimes it's the shrimp shack. She just wants the shrimp, no, but she doesn't call it shrimp. She calls it swimp.
Swimp?
Swimp. She can't pronounce the THs.
Yeah, my grandfather couldn't say door. He'd say dur. Shut the dur.
Shut the door.
Close the drawers. He's trying to say drawer. He'd say drawers. Close the drawers.
She says, I want to take a bat instead of a bath. I want to take a bat. Ooh, my thumb hurts. Like she just can't do THs.
That's so funny. I don't do TH as well. I say toothbrush.
Do you?
Yeah, we hadn't said toothbrush all night. So, what's it called again?
Old Time Grocery.
Old Time Grocery.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
I did.
Did it go by like really fast?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk for like another hour, right?
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I've gotten started.
Yeah. Well, that's what it kind of feels like sometimes. It feels like, oh, we're just getting started. And then it's like, oh,
It's fun.
It's been an hour. Would you come back and do it again?
Yes.
We'll do a follow up.
Yeah, and yes.
Yeah.
Maybe in like a year or two.
When you become Louis Gossett Jr. and what was that movie where he was a principal? And when you become the
principal,
principal or whatever, we'll bring you back.
Well, here's some
good.
crossed fingers
Yeah.
that I get that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, take care of this little one, get his allowance going, and then you just then you'll be good. All right. Well, I make everybody give me a hug. You can push that mic out. You don't have to dodge around it. Well, you just dodge around with it.
Scotty G.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate it.